Hello again everyone, Mary Rose here at Stitch Bliss Corner on the 21st of December 2025. And with a bit of luck, I'll get this video up before Christmas. Now, I thought I'm using my older iPad today because the other one, the bigger one, seems to be going on the blink. So I thought, well, I'll just use this one. So I don't really know how things are going to come out. But, you do your best with the materials you're given, I suppose. Harlequin will do his best anyway. So now I've got a lot here to show you today. And I thought I'd just recap on my last video, which was the one devoted entirely to Marilyn Levitt Imblum's Angel of Dreams. Now, I got a lot of lovely feedback from all you beautiful people that spend time with me. That is just, it's irreplaceable, the comments. And I have to say that I would wax lyrical more in my comments if I had time. So my brief responses at times, if I allow myself, I'd write reams. So I do try to limit myself, simply because time is always limited for everything, isn't it? And I'm usually looking at comments just before I go to sleep. So that's the other thing. I find it very relaxing, and I can doze off mid-sentence too. So, but I very much appreciate the time that is taken to comment, because I know it does take a certain amount of effort to do that, and it's always nice to see sometimes you tell me what you're stitching on and all sorts of things. Now, I'm just singling out one comment because she is a linen enthusiast, and anyone who saw my video on this particular piece, it was my first time stitching on linen, and to begin with, I was ready to kick the table up and leave the room and not continue. But because I'd made a promise to my viewers that I would do this piece on linen, because I've already stitched it on even weave, I felt duty bound to keep going. And as I went on, I did get a grudging respect for the fabric. But this particular comment is from someone who absolutely adores linen. And I think someone said it was a joyous thing to be doing, which, that's great, isn't it? That your love of the fabric will make you feel that way. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? So anyway, I'm just going to just give you a part of this. I'm ad-libbing here, but she basically says that I was setting myself up to hate linen forever straight from the start, in her words. But she did explain, because I was going on and on about how the threads in linen, one thread is thin, the other one's thick, and then the next two threads, one might be thick on one side and thin on the other, and that was basically doing my head in. But she said, linen is my favourite fabric to stitch on. I mostly stitch in hand, and I find that the more stitches I put into the linen, the more body the fabric gets. Also, it's like the threads of the fabric begin to separate into sets of two, so stitches below where I work become easier. Now she says, if I could explain how the stitches come out square, despite the difference in thicknesses of threads this way. If you have two cakes, one you cut in half, representing two threads, same thickness. The other cake you cut in thirds and have 2/3 the other side, representing a thick and a thin thread. The size of the cake does not change no matter how different in size the slices are. Same with the weave of linen. Both X's will come out square and same size, even though the thicknesses of the threads differ. The thick makes up for the thin. Hope that makes sense. Well, it does make sense, and thank you very much for taking the time to spell that out to, us plebs out here Well, I shouldn't say I'm a pleb, but but I think it was a very excellent way of explaining the foibles of linen. But I do think at the end of the day, for anyone stitching a full coverage piece, you cannot beat 18 count Ada. Sturdiness of the fabric, the way it keeps everything square. The only thing that I would say is that if you want fine detail in a face, well, you go for a higher count of even weave. If you really want details in the face and you want to do 1/1 or whatever you might want to do. So, yes, thank you very much to everybody and your input and everything. I was very happy to read all those and came out better on the other side of it. I don't think I'll be stitching on linen anytime soon again, but you never know. And if you are thinking of having a go at it, maybe you could start with a very small design and see how you go with it, see if you like to do that. Because I think if you were stitching, embroidery of flowers and things like that, I think it would come into its own then. But cross-stitching, I don't know. I'm still sort of not fully convinced, but I can certainly see why people would like to do it that way. Right, now I'm going to go on now with what I've been up to. Now, I think I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping here, because people who've seen other videos before the last one would know that I stitched this piece here. I didn't use these words. It's their wisdom sampler. And a very nice person did tell me that I'd missed a bit. So I just want to reassure her. Thank you very much for for letting me know. It was it was across the midsection here, and I didn't quite finish a part of it, but now I've definitely done all that. So thank you to her. And what I wrote there was, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." So I'll just show you the stitching again, just so you can see it. I did change it in places, and I did explain that in the video that I stitched it. So anyway, so I just thought I'd mention that, and thank you very much to that person, because you can imagine what it'd be like if you framed something and then you looked at it and thought, oh, I've missed that bit. And I would advise anyone that if they ever do that, not to tell anyone, just put it on the wall. They're not likely to notice at all. It might vex you from time to time, but there's nothing worse. I remember, now who was it? Some actress anyway. And she said that there was a feature on her face, that only she saw it. And she said if she told anyone, they'd all just focus on that. And she was a very beautiful woman. And I thought to myself, well, that's a very interesting thing, isn't it? Because if you do have a feature that you're not happy with, you probably are best not to mention it, because it's the first thing people are going to look at. Anyway, now here's the other thing. So I'm just getting through the things that I've shown you before I get on to what I'm going to show you today. Now, I was working on this one here, and I've finished that now, and I'll get Harlequin to put the stages in for finishing it off for you. Yeah, so that was that there, and I'll just show it to you here. Now this thread, I'll explain that to you in a minute. This is quite difficult because the tablet is smaller, so it's a bit hard to remember that to show you. Alright, now the reason why I've got those threads there is just to show you. Now here, can you see there, I haven't put my couching in, I haven't put my outline, my back stitch if you will, along there. And the reason is just to show you how easy it is to do back stitch without doing a lot. Now what I'll try to explain, wait till I just put my needle on here. Right, now there's, see that there. Now if I put my needle in down there, which I will do now, can you see that that complete lot is now covered or outlined, right? And then all I have to do is just push the needle through at some point along that line, go back down through the same hole and anchor it down. And you only have to do it in a few places instead of endless back stitch, one by one by one, which doesn't look as good anyway in my view. So I thought I'd just share that with you. I hope you could see it all right, but that's what I did with all of it, and that's what I usually do with my back stitching. I do shortcuts, if you will. It's like a shorthand back stitch. Now, what else did I do with this? I think there's something else I had to tell you. I'll write some notes down. I'll just get Harlequin to pause here while I find it. Right, here it is. Now, there were blended threads in this piece. Single. Pointy needle for couching, that's very good to use a pointed needle. Makes it easier. I did some extra branches because there were some leaves just hanging there, seemingly not connected to anything. I put a smile on the cat's face and changed the nose a bit. Other than that, I have mostly resisted the temptation to detail up, which is what I do tend to do with my stitching. I start to add things and, you know, it's not good really, because you do need to draw a line. The question is, where do you draw your line? So here's the cat here, there, and I'll just show you what the original looked like. Where is he down there? So I think I just put a little bit of a smile on his face. So anyway, enough of that one. I'm sure you get the idea. So there's that one. Now, when I finished that, I thought, well, I'll just do a smaller one, which I got my Dimensions Gold collection out, and it was a petite. Now, I do have handy hints on stitching dimensions kits, because I get the impression anyway that there are some stitchers that get a dimensions kit, especially, you get a petite because you think, oh, well, that's going to be a good one to start, an easy one, rather than the bigger ones. And then when they catch sight of the chart, it can freak them out. Because when you look at a dimensions chart and you're not someone that's used to that kind of chart, it can freak you out a bit because it seems to be too much. People will know what I'm talking about, anyone who's seen a dimensions chart. So I did do a handy hints on it, and I'll get Harlequin to put the number here and the video so you can have a look. Anyway, this is the one that I stitched, and I think I did do a few changes on it as well. Did I change? I changed something on here. I can't remember now. It was too long ago. But it looks fairly close. I think it's just me just adding bits, just generally when I'm detailing something up, especially when I'm couching, because it's so easy to do that. Anyway, sorry, I left you out of this, haven't I? There's the actual stitching there. And I'll just get Harlequin to put the stages in for you here. So that was the dimensions there. And that whetted my appetite a bit. Harlequin made the mistake of saying to me, are there any dimensions kits that you would like to stitch? And there are some that, when you're looking at dimensions and you think to yourself, oh, one day I wouldn't mind doing that one, but just not just now. I think I'll just think about it. Well, I was doing that a lot. And so I'll just pop that up there. But then I thought, well, maybe you should just get some. So that's what I've done. So I'll be showing you those later. So anyway, on with the next thing. Now, I decided that I wanted to stitch a Prairie Schooler. This one. Well, I'll take it out of the bag. The North Wind. It just made me smile. It's just the way the animals are all hanging on to him and Santa's beard is flying, and the whole thing I found quite funny. So I decided to stitch him. Now, I wanted to stitch him on navy blue, and I often think that Christmas themed stitching would be very nice on blue. You see it a lot on browns and everything, and I think, well, that's okay, but I do like the idea of blue. So then I sort of let my head go completely and decided on navy blue. So that's what I did. So here he is here. And as you can see, I decided to make him look like a postage stamp, which I suppose these days is, you don't see many. Well, you do see postage stamps, but you can imagine them slowly disappearing, can't you, with emails and all that sort of thing, and e-cards. So anyway, there he is. Now, as you can see, there are some changes that I made because I wanted his on here, because he was against a lighter background. He didn't need outlines around his boots or anything. And also the red, I changed the colour because that darker red, it wouldn't have looked as good, I don't think, on the navy blue. So I had to make some changes, which was my own fault for actually fiddling around with something that was obviously designed for for a brown fabric. So anyway, there he is. Now I'll just see if there's anything else I have to tell you. This is 16 count, and I did get some 18 count Ada as well, which I have something in mind for that, so I'll share that with you next time. Right, now on with the next full coverage piece that I'm actually working on at the moment, and it's this one, The Promise by Morgan Westling, who is a wonderful artist. And I do share the story of this on a previous video, but basically this is the story of the sick child, or the child that Jesus brought back to life. And when I was 3 years old, I had a very bad case of pneumonia and I nearly died. And this it strikes a note in me, put it that way. So I've started this one. Now, usually with my videos, I like to show the completed piece. I go through the stages, which I'll go through the stages now, actually. But in this case, because Christmas was coming and I wanted to share other things before the end of the year, I thought, well, I'll just show you where I'm up to with this one. And I did intend starting another one, actually, before the end of the year, but I think I'm going to hold that over and start it, as soon as I can when I finish this one. So I'll just show you where I'm up to here. I just had it. got all bits hanging down because I've been working on it. And you can see there. Where the hoop's been there, but that goes. And you can see how it's got a misty sort of property to it. And there's a good reason for that, which I shall explain very shortly. That gorgeous little girl there. Here's my explanation now. Nearly every single thread in this piece is a blended thread. There are hardly any that are just straight threads, maybe 3, I don't know. So what I did, because Harlequin said to me, would you have stitched this if you had realised that it was mostly blended threads? And I said yes, because of the personal reason for stitching it. But if I hadn't had that personal reason for stitching it, I think it would have been a little bit daunting. But then again, I did, because you haven't got any loop starts, But then again, I suppose if you work out a method for it, you can do it, and it's fairly easy to do, put it that way. So here's what I did. I got cards and I punched holes. Oh, excuse me. I punched holes in the cards, and then I have my main lot of threads here. As you can see, they're all numbered and so on. And then, for example, 452 and 778. That's one of the blended threads there. So of course I go here, I get one strand of 452, one strand of 778. Then I put them together, I knot each end, cut in the middle, and then I put those threads on here ready to go. So each time I just take one thread, and put it on here, it becomes 2 threads that I use, or, 2 pieces of 2 threads. Gosh, you know what I mean. I have enough. Oh, wait until I just show you. And what number was that? 645 and 3861. So there's one there and one there, sets of 2. And then I loop them round onto the card. There's one, and there's the other one, ready to go. And I find that if each evening, just before I finish for the night stitching, I go through and I refill all the thread choices ready to go the next day. And so you get a method going, and it works quite well. So, but I have never stitched a piece with so many blended threads. And I know blended threads are not popular with most people, so I thought, well, I'd warn you about that. If you are thinking of stitching this piece, be aware that there are an awful lot of blended threads. Now then, what's the next thing? Oh, now I just thought I'd show you also when I'm getting my blended thread ready. I'm going to do this with, well, my 2, because I have to have 2 different, well, that's not right. when I'm putting one on the primary card, you know, the primary one there. Now when I'm loading that up, this is what I do. I always put the number on my bench there so I don't forget what number I've got. Then I take the, you know, take those off. And then I go like that, just to get the middle. Now you sort of have to have loose hands, is what I call it. If you do that, okay, then you get the end here. And then I tend to put it on my wrist. You realise this could all go terribly wrong, don't you? I put it on my wrist and I just pull like that. And it sort of just naturally comes off like that. I'm still holding on to the piece, the start of it. And I keep pulling like that. And it just loosely falls onto my lap here. Okay. This one's behaving, so that's very nice. And then you naturally come to the end. Then I put both my ends together like that. Hold that and then go back. Now this is where the loose hands come in, because naturally enough it wants to knot up. But it won't if you're just sort of gentle with it. As it comes to a bit of a resistance, you just shake it out. Okay? Just keep going like that. See, there's a bit come up here. You just shake it. Okay. This doesn't always happen. Sometimes it just goes and it doesn't really knot up at all, but it can knot up. So that's why you have to be careful. Shake, shake, shake. See there, it wants to misbehave. But if you're just careful, you know, the worst thing you can do is pull too hard on it. So that's all loose now. Then you go back to the start here again, where you've got your two ends together, and then you pull it through your fingers like that. I mean, I might be preaching to the converted here. This is might be how you all do it, for all I know. So then you get your loop end there, and you put that with your original ones. And you go back down to the end again, and you have another loop there. You put that with this one, and then put those two loops together, and that's where I keep it that way. And then I just cut the ends like that. And I am inclined also to just cut across so that there's no chance of a loop left in there. And then you've got your threads ready to go. Then I just put those through my hole on my card and we're ready to go. So I just thought I'd share that with you. Right, so that's that. Now, what else have I got here? Oh, that's just all my extra threads in there for the promise. Now I'm going on to just show you how I have now kitted up. This is my body, which is the next one that I want to do. Now Harlequin has printed out all the parts of the chart for me, ready to go. And I always glue my chart together, and I'm not a pattern keeper person. I just like to mark off where I'm going, and that's all there is to it. That's just what I do. Then I've got my cards ready. I've got the symbols on there ready to go. And what I do have to do with this one is do my grids, because I haven't gridded yet. What's this here? I think this might be, yeah, I've already, there's my fabric for This Is My Body. I just haven't done the gridding. This is 18 count Ada. The Stitcher's Friend. There's my, the charts I have in there that I just showed you that he's printed out for me. I do like a second set, so I can just, if I want to, I can just use one sheet on my bench here. But quite often I just keep the whole thing together and I just fold it and it goes fine. You know, I just have a magnetic board and I just make it work that way. But yeah, so I put the whole chart together, glued it all. So it is the size of a small city, but that's all right, because as I say, I can fold it and it's very robust, it doesn't rip. So that's that one ready to go. Then there's the Amish quilts. That's ready to go. So it's like, so I've basically made myself some kits. And I've just, again, I have to do my gridding and get my, I've got my Ada for that, so that's fine. So that's that one. Now, what else have I got here? Oh yes, now I'm just going to go on to the dimensions that I've got to show you, and then we can wrap things up. So my first choice was something that I've looked at over the years. Charles Wysocki, Cozy Cove. There's a quaintness about his work, humour in there, just gorgeous. So I thought, well, why not? It does remind me a little bit of the series Murder, She Wrote, you know, Jessica Fletcher, Cabot Cove. Instead of Cabot Cove, it's Cozy Cove. So, I mean, that's a little bit like Jessica, well, it's not like Jessica's house, but, you know, that kind of feel about it anyway. So there's that one that I will be starting. I just don't know, maybe I'll have some whips. I mean, you know, I did consider it. I'll just have to see, because I sort of do tend to be someone that likes to start something and finish it before I start something else. But maybe 2026 is the Chinese Year of the Dragon. Oh, not Year of the Dragon, do beg your pardon. The Year of the Horse and the Fire Horse. So I thought, well, you know, that's supposed to be, well, it's supposed to be a good sign. I don't know. I don't know much about those things, but that made me think of it. Now, this is the next one. So I've got the actual kit there, but I'm just showing you the pictures that he's printed out. But I think this one I'll just show you the whole thing. Yeah, there it is. That's another one that I like. And I've hummed and hawed over that one as well. But it was an offer I couldn't refuse. Holiday Village, that one's called. That's that one. Then we have this one. which, you know, I sort of think to myself, I think America is amazing, and I've always liked to have gone there to have a look and everything. But I just don't know how anyone over there is game to go hiking or anything when there are bears around. I mean, in Australia there are snakes and everything, but they tend to sort of run away. And well, not that a snake can run, but they do try to avoid people as much as possible, you know. But, oh, bears, oh dear. And this one I sort of quite like too. And there are the bears there, because I just can't imagine you're walking along having a wonderful day and then suddenly there's this creature there, and I'm thinking my hat goes off to anyone who does hiking over there. And I think they have bears in Japan as well, don't they? I mean, you know, they get around. Sunset Mountain Trail. Gosh, Sunset Mountain Trail, yeah. So I really like that one. And don't get me wrong, I think bears are just amazing creatures, but that's, oh gee. Then again, they say you're more likely to get run over than, you know, by a car or something than to have an encounter with a bear. So I think I'm just over it. It's probably the internet, you know, because there's a fellow that I watch and he talks all about hiking and all this sort of thing. And so I think, you know, if you're watching something and that's all they do, well, naturally they're going to talk about all the times that there have been encounters with those creatures, whereas normally probably your average hiker never sees one, for all I know. Anyway, oh dear. Don't let me put you off, you wonderful people in America. Don't let me put you off doing your hiking. It's very good for you. And this is the other one. And this one's called Alan Maley's Gracious Era. And there was only one thing, there was something about this I wasn't quite sure. I just felt they looked a bit flat. But then I thought, well, maybe that's just the picture. Maybe when you stitch it, maybe it doesn't look flat. Because, I mean, they are called dimensions, so probably when you do all your dimensions, you know how you have all the different thread counts and all that sort of thing. Not that I always use the full, you know, instructions with dimensions. Sometimes if they say to use, you know, 4 threads and all that sort of thing, I think, oh, that's a bit over the top. So I do tend to suit myself a little bit with dimensions kits. But I do suggest that if you have a dimensions and it tells you to use, you know, 5 threads or something outrageous, get a bigger needle. That makes it a lot easier to pull it through. And I mean, I think there is a reason why they do it. It's to get that dimension to get like a 3D effect. Apparently. That's what I've been told anyway. Now there's this other one here, which the name escapes me. Harlequin just printed it out for me because it's in transit. And it's this one here, which I do like very much. Because that hasn't even arrived yet, so I can show you next time. Now then, what else do I have here? Oh, I just have to show you these hole punches that Harlequin got for me. One is Swingline low force hole punch, that one there, designed as a plier for ease of use, slim handle design, robust metal construction, 20 sheet capacity. So, and he also got me these, a packet of this card stock, that's quite thick, so I can put my holes in and put my threads through. So we may as well just do one here to show you. Right, push it in there, so you can get a really nice hole. And this has a 20 sheet capacity, So theoretically you could, use it on 20 sheets if you wanted to. And then he got me this other one, because he does like to give me a selection. Easy to use metal hand punch, securely punches 5 sheets, this one. And that's a swing line as well. So that's just a different one. And they have a reservoir in there. Sorry, just dropping things. This little reservoir at the bottom, you open it and your little hole, the bit that you punched out, it comes out and you just empty it like that, which is very handy. And this one, that one there, not sponsored. Oh, incidentally, if you see any ads on my videos, fast forward them by all means, because I'm not monetized and I don't want to be monetized. So if you see one, please do fast forward if you can. And there's that one. It's a different sound, isn't it? It's from here. Hang on. What do I do with this one? That's quieter. Yes, if there's a baby in the house, don't use this one. You'll wake the baby up. And this also has a little chamber at the bottom that you open and it comes out. So there you go. So how's that? Now what else do we have here? Not much more to go. Oh yes, now I was just going to say about that fellow that I've been watching that talks about hiking and all that sort of thing. And he did a story about a woman she went out hiking and she had loads of experience with difficult weather conditions and all that sort of thing. And so it was very, very cold. And she had all the right equipment and all that sort of thing. And she was just setting out for a fairly short hike up the side of a mountain, and then she was going to turn and come back down again. Anyway, so she was going along, and she saw this fellow just sitting with his back against a rock. And, I don't know, with some... You hear of climbers and that sort of thing, when someone's in trouble, they don't really want to interfere with their personal journey kind of thing, It's because some people, they have their own reasons for doing different things. But in this case, she stopped and she said to him, are you okay? And he just looked at her and he wouldn't tell her his name, just wouldn't tell her anything about himself. And he had very light clothes on. He wasn't dressed for climbing anything, and in those conditions and everything. So she gave him a drink out of her kit, because she had a backpack with warm fluid and that sort of thing. Gave him a drink and got him to stand up, because he was nearly frozen. Got him to move around a bit, and then she took him along and he fell over and she got him back up again. Got him back to the trailhead. All the time, he wouldn't say what his name was. And by the time they got back to the trailhead to their cars, she probably was so taken aback by the whole thing, she didn't even take any notice of much at all. She probably knew the colour of his car and that was it. And he basically thanked her. Oh, did he thank her? I don't even know if he did. He just got in his car and drove off. And she went home. Anyway, so about a week later, because when she was talking to him, she was telling him she was part of a mountain rescue team and all this sort of stuff. So he knew that she was part of this organisation. And he wrote an anonymous letter thanking her for what she'd done and everything. And he said that he'd basically gone there to end it all, basically. And she just came along like an angel. Well, she was his angel, wasn't she? And when he went back, because he'd lost everything, and I don't know if he was living in his car or what he was doing, but what she did that day inspired him to have another look at himself, and he got a temporary place somewhere and ended up getting a job and all this sort of thing. And to this day, no one knows who he is. And she's not telling. Well, even if she knew, she wouldn't be telling. I think she called him John because he didn't have a name, so that's what she called him on the trail. And apparently there was a film made about this story called Infinite Storm, starring Naomi Watts. And I thought, I must see if I can catch up with that movie. But it's just incredible what a hand of kindness will do for you, isn't it? That even when you just push to those limits of your life that you just don't want to go on, and someone comes along and changes everything for you. I thought that was really amazing. Now, I'm just going to finish now by wishing you all a very happy and holy Christmas, that the new year brings you everything you could want. I think we, to varying degrees, we all have our challenges in life, no doubt about it. But like that man sitting out there in the storm, it's amazing what can happen, that things can change for you. That's the point. You just have to keep on going. It's no use curling yourself up in a ball and waiting to freeze like he was going to. There's always hope. There's always things can turn around just like that. So, yeah. So, as I say, all the best until I see you in the new year. And I hope this hasn't been too much of a jumble for you. And I'll have to cut bits out because things didn't go according to plan. They never do, because I don't really like plans anyway. So that's probably why. I have little notes and I can't find them, etc., etc. But if there was anything that was really important, I'll bring it up next time. All right then. Well, I'll say goodbye from Stitch Bliss Corner, and all the best until next time. Bye for now.